Good morning, Tyler. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. How are you, Ronnie?
It is Friday. 2 hours. Well, 2 hours for me. And then Tyler has like another 12.
It's true.
But do you get out during the day, though? Take a little break, enjoy the sunshine?
I pace around the building occasionally just to, walk away from things for a little bit. Try not to go entirely insane. Doesn't always work.
Get out, get some sunshine. You need vitamin D. It's going to be beautiful out there.
I don't get sunshine. I get burned. That's what happens.
Well, happy Friday to all of you out there.
On that note.
Tyler, we appreciate you tuning in to the Oakland County Megacast as we round out another week here of bringing you all the information COVID-19 related as it continues to change and impact all assets of our life. This is getting so tiring. I know we're all tired of this, and let's just hope that they come up with a vaccine soon and we can try to get life back to normal. But the good thing, though, high school football is back. And Tyler, you guys have a big game tonight?
Yeah, big game tonight. We're going up again. It's the first home game of the season. You can watch it later today, civiccentertv.com. You can click on our watch live link, and we have a link on a slide at the very top of our page. You can go directly to our video stream link of today's game. That will be at 7 o'clock. Our coverage will start about 6:15, 6:30 today, and we'll have TV and radio coverage of the game. West Bloomfield's taking on Southfield A&T. West Bloomfield, of course, last week coming off a 39-0 win, surprisingly, against Oak Park in Oak Park, one of the stronger teams in Division II that was a little bit banged up, didn't have all of its players, including its top player and one of the top prospects in the state in Ray-Sean Benny. This week, Southfield A&T coming in after a nice showing in week one despite losing to Clarkston on the road in a very close game. They got an incredibly talented freshman quarterback that came into college with over 8 offers came into high school with over 8 college offers already, just out of 8th grade, including the University of Michigan. And so a lot of talent in skill positions as well. They're a well-coached team. They've been a team that's been on the up and up for many years now, for several years now. And I think that of all the teams that they have, this is probably their most talented. So it's going to be a very good game tonight.
You know, what's so important this year more than ever is that you and Dave Scott are able to provide this service to the community, because so many people, parents, students, they can't be in the stadium. How is that working over here at West Bloomfield, Tyler? Is it two people per player?
Yeah, every school is going to be a little bit different. West Bloomfield has decided they're going to go by the MHSAA's recommendations, and they're going to allow 2 people to enter the game per participant. So it's all going to be determined beforehand. They're going to have a list of people per participant. That means coaches will get 2 people each. Players will get 2 people each. The cheerleaders will get 2 people each. And they may even let in some administration from both of the school districts as well. It's still going to be a limited audience there on both ends of the field, but they are going to be letting people in, which is different from last week where Oak Park had a different take. They decided they weren't going to let anybody in except for select media, administration from both school districts, the coaches, the players, and the cheerleaders.
Well, everything is changing because of the pandemic, and that includes one of our other favorite events, not just school, high school football, college football, but the Thanksgiving Day Parade. I am so bummed about this. I've gone to the parade countless years. I do the turkey trot a lot as well, but this year, the America's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it's going to be presented by Gardner White this year because Art Van is no longer Art Van. It's going to be televised only. So this format was designed as a safe way to continue the 94-year-old tradition. The theme is going to be We Are One Together, in an effort to honor the essential frontline workers and the heroes of the COVID-19 devastation. Sadly, though, the turkey trot is not going to take place downtown. It's only going to exist as a virtual race. I have a turkey costume that I wear every year, Tyler.
Interesting.
And the other thing, the big hobnobble gobble kind of a who's who, what's what, big fancy event. That is going to be canceled. It's going to resume in November 2021. Every year for the past how many years, I break out my turkey costume to run the turkey trot. And this year, I was even going to add a sign to the big tail that said, not today's dinner. Tyler has no words.
Yeah, here's a way you can continue that tradition without having to be in the turkey trot in its traditional form. Just come in and be the turkey on the Megacast one day.
I'm going to be sitting here in my costume.
Yeah, we'll do the show exactly as we always do. And heck, we don't even have to acknowledge it. We won't even acknowledge that you're dressed as a turkey. We'll just do the show.
I am a turkey a lot of days, though. That's what my husband would say.
Oh,
hey, so some other headlines making news here on Civic Center TV. Look, it's Friday. We're all a little slap happy over here. It's still really warm in the studio. Tyler's been working crazy hours. A little bit of good news, though. So many people got a break on their license and their expired plates right now because of COVID. Well, that time is just about up. So if you haven't had your plates renewed, you want to do it quickly because that extension is going to end next week. So anyone whose license or vehicle registration expired between March 1st, September 29th, you were given the extension to September 30th, thanks to the bill that was passed in the state legislature. Well, starting October 1st, if you have those expired license or tabs, you are going to be subject to the late fees and the tickets from the police. Now, SOS offices are open by appointment only, and due to the backlog, some offices are offering special appointments and staying open until 7 p.m. through September 20th. I will say, Tyler, so many of these appointments are already taken, though. So my guess, people that did not try to jump on this early, they're going to be a little bit late because it's been hard. If you have to actually go into the office, it's been hard to get one of these appointments. So if you can, take advantage of the kiosks that's out in the hallway for a lot of the buildings.
Yeah, if you're able to do one of the self-service kiosks, they're out in the buildings at most of those branches, and they're even in some grocery stores as well, and other locations around there. There are listed locations of those on the Secretary of State's website, but it's tough to get things done with the Secretary of State right now because they have such a backlog and they are so busy trying to make up for that backlog even still here into September. And then on top of that, even the help hotline that they have is really tough because you're navigating in 8,000 different directions trying to get to talk to a real person. I had a minor question that I just wanted to get answered and try to go through the hotline recently, and it didn't work out. It was just I was in there for 15 minutes circling around. It's been driving me crazy, and it was driving me crazy then. So I just sent an email instead. And even those they send you back and they say it may take a little bit to get back to you on this. We have backlogs that we're still working on. So issues with the Secretary of State are going to be ongoing well beyond this month and well beyond the pandemic, I would believe.
Yeah, and I would imagine a lot of cops are going to give a little bit of grace if you do have an expired tag, if you kind of explain the situation. We're all human. We understand what is going on. Hey, also head over to civiccentertv.com and under the coronavirus headlines, that's where we post the new headlines each and every morning. Little story here about your school there, Tyler. 2 days after the Ingham County health officer called out the large differences in COVID case counts at Michigan State University, her department tallied more than twice what MSU reported. The university has now updated its website to reflect the larger number. Michigan State Coronavirus Tracker webpage as of Thursday lists about just over 1,200 confirmed cases since August 24th. That's up from 499 that the university reported for the same time period earlier this week. It's kind of another win for transparency in a state that is struggling not only to release real-time information about school outbreaks, but also to help worried families, schools, and businesses understand how COVID-19 data can change as case investigations unfold. MSU being called onto the carpet there, Tyler, changing their way, because basically MSU was saying, we're tracking the students that are on campus and the staff members, and Ingham County is like, no, you need to be tracking the people that are living off campus as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're tracking all students. An outbreak in your student body has to include your entire student body. That frankly, it doesn't entirely shock me that they were trying to pull a fast one there and make their numbers look better. I think every university is trying to do that right now in an effort to not discourage people from continuing their support or from coming back semester to semester. But it's a public health issue, and you should be cooperating with your local health department and frankly with the people of the state of Michigan and in your local area. So good that those that were checking those numbers and were calling out MSU have made them correct themselves and be on the straight and narrow reporting that information.
Also on CivicCenterTV.com, COVID-19 to change Yom Kippur celebrations for the Jewish faith. It will bring about a new set of emotions this year as communities celebrate distantly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. It's the holiest day for those of the Jewish faith. This year it begins at sundown Sunday, ends at sundown Monday. Services are going to be a lot different this year, though, so while many Jews will be able to take part in online services, Orthodox Jews do not use electrical devices on holy days, so they can't use the internet as a replacement for live in-person services. For them, they'll probably have smaller services in like small groups, while also adhering to the social distancing measures, wearing masks, and holding some of those services outside. So many things, everything still being impacted by COVID-19. These are traditions for so many people within the Jewish faith, and they too this year are going to have to kind of change how they look and how they do things, Tyler.
Yeah, it's going to be different for them this year, and a lot of traditions in many religions have had to adjust for COVID-19 and under the circumstances that we're under right now in order to continue those traditions, but do so in a safe manner as well.
Yeah, because, we hear so many stories about families that get together and, you go to a wedding or you get together for your birthday or this, that, and the other, and then COVID spreads amongst your loved ones. So we have a great show ahead of you here to round out this week. Just before we take a break, let me give you a rundown. We'll start talking about the substance abuse issues. Yesterday we were talking a little bit about kids and our youth and how to prevent substance abuse during this time. So today we'll be speaking with the program coordinator at Henry Ford Maplegrove Community Education. Addiction is up right now. It's a hard time for those that are addicted, struggling to stay sober as well. Then we'll head over to Orchard Mall, and a lot of good things going on over there. The gyms are back open, so we'll get an update from Kelly Woodley, and also a big shout out to the Orchard Mall for being our Facebook partner today on the Oakland County Megacast. The second hour of the show will we'll be speaking to a chiropractor and a public speaker. Keith Brennan, I will say, Tyler, I was reading his story, and I like it. He started out as a doctor and took a little pivot in life. And then we'll talk to a couple of Oakland University medical students that are the creators of street medicine. What exactly is that? Where is it taking place? And they just got a good grant to keep going because they're doing so much great work. And then we'll end the show speaking with a children's author. We're talking zombies here today. That's how we're going to end this Friday. Zombies, Tyler.
Yeah, we've been living all week as zombies, and we'll finish off with one. So.
There you go. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Thank you for tuning in to the Oakland County Megacast. You can catch us on civiccentertv.com, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, or on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM and 88.1 FM, The Biff. We are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, bringing you all the latest information and having long discussions with so many of the people that are helping us navigate and get through this trying time in our country. And substance abuse has been a big issue during COVID. A lot of people having a hard time coping. There are also, the issue of isolation and the stress. And so we're going to start off the show by bringing in Lisa Kaplan. She's the program coordinator over at Henry Ford Maplegrove Community Education. Thank you for taking time to be with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
So while so many of us have had a little bit of a break during this pandemic, you and your team, I would imagine, have been extremely busy. What are the trends that you're seeing?
Okay, so I will tell you, most substance abuse treatment facilities have limited the amount of people coming in. Some, like ours, had to close for a period of time because of the pandemic. So all of the people who need help are not getting it, unfortunately. The other thing is that our outpatient programs are all now online. That means our intensive outpatient programs and our individual sessions are still happening, but the patients are being seen virtually by their therapist. So the sense of camaraderie of being in person in a group room together are not happening at this time. The other issue is that the 12-step meetings, the support groups for people who are in recovery, many of them are not meeting in person. They are meeting online. Some are meeting in person. But again, that connection that people had with one another is limited. So it's a problem, very much so, at this time.
So have the numbers increased of the people that we have lost due to overdoses or alcoholism during this time?
So yes, I do not have statistics available, but yes. So when we first got locked down or quarantined in March and April, alcohol sales went up exponentially. So you can imagine that people who have an alcohol problem, or even those who don't, are going to have an issue. So that was big. The other thing is overdoses have continued. I know that Chief Patton keeps statistics on how many people in West Bloomfield have overdosed, so that would be a good question for him. But, we hear about it on the news all the time. People are still overdosing because they're not getting the help that they need.
So Lisa, I know in the beginning there were a lot of questions as to why the state of Michigan allowed alcohol stores and liquor stores to remain open, but some people were saying that for those that are alcoholics, not being able to get alcohol could have, put them into a downward spiral, even the physical response of their body, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So someone who is used to having alcohol in their system, if they were to quit cold turkey because they don't have access to it, if the stores were closed, they would have withdrawal symptoms, which are very dangerous and potentially deadly. So with alcohol, we're worried about seizures and high blood pressure, and either one can kill people. but other drugs as well. You would think that heroin, if you stop cold turkey, could kill you. What's interesting about heroin is it won't. It'll make you very, very, very sick, but it won't kill you. But alcohol and benzodiazepines, which are the class of drugs like sedatives, like Xanax, if you quit cold turkey, you're putting yourself at risk. So I don't know what the governor's thinking was. Maybe it was that, but that's why people who are used to having alcohol in their system needed to continue using for their own safety. The problem is for many people, many new people developed an alcohol problem. And of course, those who had an alcohol problem, continued use made it progressively worse.
Lisa Kaplan joining us, program coordinator at Henry Ford Maplegrove Community Education, today on the Oakland County Megacast. And Lisa, earlier on you had mentioned that in-person meeting between maybe therapists and their clients or support groups have been reduced or eliminated during the pandemic in favor of virtual options. How has that been impacting the treatment of those with substance abuse issues?
Well, I think it depends on the person. For some, it's way more convenient to be at home on a computer talking to your therapist. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's safe. It's easy. But for others, they like the connection of being face-to-face in person in a group room or in an office. So I think it's dependent on the person. But for a lot of people, especially those who have isolated themselves in their addiction, it was healthy and good for them to be out and about among people, and now they can't as much.
Can you talk a little bit about, for those that abuse drugs, I think I read somewhere where because some of the borders were closed, it was harder for drugs to get smuggled into the United States. So people were turning to different types of drugs. Did you see that here in this area?
Okay, I'm sure that is true. However, someone who wants to get drugs can get drugs. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can order them on the internet. They can be delivered to your front door. People who have a supply chain, like they have a pusher, we used to call it a pusher, a drug dealer, they still have access. So someone who wants drugs can get it. I'm sure there are some people who could not, so they would turn to other drugs. Very often alcohol was more accessible. So if you want drugs, you can get them. Plus marijuana is legal now. And so access to marijuana was probably easier than maybe some of the other drugs. So when someone switches from one drug to another drug and becomes addicted to the other drug, we call that cross addiction, which is very, very common. So, if you want to get high or drunk, you can do it.
For those that are struggling right now, what advice can you give to them or to their loved ones that want to try to get them help? Are there some inpatient services that are available?
Yes, absolutely. So if a person has Medicaid, they can contact their county community mental health and get an assessment done and then be referred to a treatment program that is open that has a bed available. Okay, there might be a wait at this time or not, but that's the way to go. A person who has private insurance or can afford to private pay can seek treatment at any treatment agency that's open. So for example, Maplegrove is open. They can call our intake number and they can get in fairly quickly. So that's for inpatient treatment. A person who wants outpatient treatment, essentially it's the same. They call the access number and they get offered an appointment. So there is help available for sure for the person who has the addiction. Now let's talk about the family. Before COVID, Maplegrove had very robust family programs for anybody who has a family or loved one who's using. And in March, that closed down. I'm happy to say that very soon we will be starting up again over Zoom. So if anybody is interested in participating in these programs, they need to email me at lkaplan, Kaplan, and the number 2 at hfhs.org. That stands for henryfordhealthsystem.org. And what I'm going to be doing is, as soon as we're ready to be up and running, we're going to email everyone who is interested and give them a Zoom link so that they can participate in our free family programs that are going to be on Thursday nights starting at 6 o'clock. So we're going to have a skill building class and a family support group, which we used to offer before COVID every Tuesday and Thursday night in person. And anybody in the community is welcome to participate. So again, L Kaplan, Kaplan, and the number 2 at hfhs.org, henryfordhealthsystem.org. And I will put you on the email list to let you know when we're up and running.
Lisa Kaplan with us on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the program coordinator at Henry Ford Maplegrove Community Education. How important is it to have the family involved in this recovery process?
Very, very important. Can't be understated. So addiction is a family disease. Whether the family realizes it or not, they are part of the disease. Either they're enabling the user to continue using, okay, or what they're doing, what they think is helping, may not be helping. So families need education too. And that's why we are so, we have promoted our family program so strongly over the years. We believe if we help our family members, we're also helping our patients.
So when that program starts up, is there a limit to how many people can participate?
We haven't determined that yet, but I'm going to hope the answer is no. Because, you know, with Zoom, I don't know what the limit is, but we're working on that right now. The other thing that family members can do now, before even that gets up and running, is Al-Anon and Nar-Anon are 12-step support groups for family members who have a loved one who's using. And I believe that those meetings are also online. Some may be in person. And so family members can do that right now.
Lisa Kaplan with us. She is the program coordinator at Henry Ford Maplegrove Community Education, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. Lisa, as we're now into the fall and we're heading into the colder months of the year, how does that have any impact on trends in substance use and abuse in the local area? How does the change in seasons and these times of the year usually affect people, and how maybe is COVID also going to play maybe a two-sided attack in this coming season?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Tyler. We don't know because we've never been through a fall in a pandemic before. But what I will say is typically in the fall, as the days get shorter and there's less sunlight, many people suffer from what we call seasonal affective disorder. And so it's like a depression that people go into when the days get shorter and the weather gets colder, and then they come out of it in the spring. So that's always an issue. And people commonly self-medicate mental health disorders with substances. So that probably happens every year. In a pandemic, it might be worse because if people are following the rules, they're going to be more isolated in the colder weather, can't be outside with other people. So I'm betting that we're going to see a lot more mental health problems. And again, more people medicating mental health problems with substances. I hope I'm wrong, but probably not.
Yeah, for so many people, being able to get outdoors and get some sunshine and enjoy this nice weather has really helped them cope with everything we've been going through, the anxiety, the stress. And when we talk about mental health, how much is mental health and addiction connected, or in some degree, are they one and the same?
They absolutely go hand in hand. Most people who have a substance use disorder also have a mental health disorder, and both need to be treated. Back in the day, they would only treat one at a time. Nowadays, we treat both. They have to be treated together to be successful.
Lisa Kaplan with us, the program coordinator at Henry Ford Maplegrove Community Education, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. Lisa, just another few minutes with you before we gotta let you go. Anything else that would be important for our audience to know at this time, or any other information that we haven't touched on today in this discussion?
So yes, two things I want to mention. One is vaping. So many of you know that vaping has become a huge trend over the last few years, and especially among young people. So The problem is vaping affects your lungs, and COVID is a respiratory illness. People who are vaping who then get COVID are putting themselves at an even higher risk than anybody else who should get COVID. So it's really, really dangerous. And a lot of young kids say, you know, I'm young, I'm not going to get that sick from COVID. If they're vaping, yes, they are. So it's a really scary thing. The other thing is, you may have heard on the news yesterday about whippets. So when we were young, we would see these little canisters, these metal canisters lying around playgrounds and such, and they're finding them again. It's a very common thing. And whippets are nitrous oxide that people use to get high. So that's another big trend that is that we're seeing. So kids who are outside, teens who are outside, not under the supervision of their parents, could still be using this and be undetected. So just giving a heads up to parents out there.
Yeah, so what should parents look for if they think this is going on with their kids, or after hearing what you just alerted them to, they want to find out more and see if maybe their kids are abusing these substances?
Okay, so parents have the right to search their child's room, car, pockets, jackets, if they believe that there's an issue, or even if they don't, because the parent owns the house and owns everything in the house. So they are encouraged to do that if there's a reason, and some parents do it even if there isn't a reason. But what you want to definitely do is you want to know the signs and symptoms of substance use, which there's a long list. You can Google it and look it up. You also want to have a drug test at home, which hopefully you will never need, but your child knows you have in case you need to test them. The other thing is, of course, to have the conversation about drugs and about the dangers. And kids are very educated. Parents need to be educated as well. So anything you want to learn, you can Google and be educated as well. But the communication between the parent and child is very, very important. And if you suspect a problem, a parent should get the child help immediately. Addiction is a progressive disease that gets worse over time, and the sooner you address it, the better. So seeing a substance abuse therapist right off the bat is probably not a bad idea.
Lisa, I'm not going to earn any fans with the younger generation, but I say it's okay for the parents to snoop through their phone. It used to be back in the day you wrote a diary. Now everything is in their phone. Snoop, you should have the password.
Oh, absolutely. So I will tell you that in our adolescent program, many of the parents first learned about their child's substance use by going through their phone. It's very important. Parents own the phone. Parents are paying the bill. Parents should have every password, should have access to every account, and phones should not be in the bedroom overnight. The teen should turn in the phone, because if they have a choice between being on the phone and sleeping, what do you think they're going to do? Okay, so the parents should have access to the phone at night and any time that they want it. And if the child will not share a password, then they should not have a phone.
Good advice to go ahead and end this conversation on. Thank you for being with us. So many different things for people to look at, not just for maybe you're checking in for your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, but also parents with their kids. Some great information, some great advice. We appreciate it, and you being with us today as well.
Thank you for having me.
Tyler and I are going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, we are going to talk shopping, one of my favorite subjects. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Thank you for tuning in to the Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl alongside Tyler Keefe. Thank you for all of the cable subscribers out there. People like me, we still get cable. You can catch us on Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. Such a good service that a portion of your bill those fees go to help provide and support your local cable stations. So thank you for that. And one of the other things I want to say is thank you to all of the business owners over at Orchard Mall. This has been a tough time for them. They have continued to navigate it, and they're getting back into the groove of things. Let's bring in Kelly Woodley. She's the property manager over at the Orchard Mall. Thanks for being with us today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
So it seems like things are getting a little bit better from the last time we spoke, because I believe even at that time the gyms weren't reopened.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's been a long road, a long 6 months, but we're excited that our gyms and our other fitness operators are getting back at it this week.
So Kelly, one of the things I like about Orchard Mall, there's a little bit of everything in that mall. So it's not even so much your typical mall like you think Somerset. You have the fitness centers, you have, some service industries as well. So give us a rundown for people that aren't familiar with the stores that are in the mall. What type of services can people expect when they go there, and how are things going for them?
Sure. We like to think that is what sets us apart. We're a smaller neighborhood shopping center. We like to think we have everything you need and want under one roof. So we have a lot of fitness users or businesses. We have Planet Fitness, which opened back up just last week. True Martial Arts, Fuse 45 is a boutique fitness center. They've been holding classes outside over the past couple of months, so that's been very cool. Yoga, plenty of fitness to go around. We have 2 salons in the Orchard Mall. They've been doing a great job at enforcing the use of masks and temperature checks and making sure that everyone's safe to come back to their normal beauty regimens as people are ready. And then we have a long lineup of sole proprietor business retailers that have been in the mall for a very long time. We have women's clothing stores, Guys and Gals Boutique, Eleganza Boutique, Sally's Design. We have Tappers, Diamonds and Fine Jewelry, who's also been in the mall for 20 years with beautiful luxury brands in their store. And then we have a couple of restaurants, the Jagged Fork and Shangri-La, who they're open. They're doing outside seating, curbside pickup, delivery, a little bit of everything at Orchard Mall. And we're thrilled. It's been a hard time for all of them, but I think every time we talk, I have to brag about just how proud we are as the property manager and owners of the mall that they've all adapted to a really difficult time very well. And it's so impressive to see them change their business models and just continue to connect with our community and be there for their customers. So we're trying to support them in every way that we can, and to see businesses picking back up again, it's very encouraging.
Kelly Woodley with us. She's the property manager at the Orchard Mall. Also today, our Facebook partner on this edition of the Oakland County Megacast. So Kelly, with all that innovation being in place to keep these businesses open and functioning under the circumstances of our times, they've been open, they've been staying open. Things are getting a little bit busier and starting to trend a little bit back towards some semblance of normalcy in the business community. Are any of these businesses now looking for more people to join as workers and employees?
I have seen that. I've seen a couple of signs up. I know Planet Fitness, they were closed for so long that they did end up losing a couple of their employees there. So I think they were hiring. Toyology is hiring. I have to imagine both of the restaurants could use more help. It's been a tiring time, and I think you would find there are jobs available if people are interested. I would encourage you to reach out and check out their websites.
The weather's been great for getting out, and with the setup that you guys have there at Orchard Mall, you can walk around outside and then go inside. So it's not necessarily like a normal, typical mall that one would expect. But are you concerned at all going into the winter months that foot traffic may decrease? And so for the businesses, is there anything that they're talking about to try to address that?
I think like everyone, we are concerned the winter months are going to be different in this pandemic, and I think what we're doing is trying to prepare ahead of time and focusing on health and safety, and we're enforcing the masks and keeping up with our cleaning. We want to provide that warm, safe environment so that people can come in. We do still have our mall walkers coming in, and our retailers have done a really great job of putting the health and safety protocols in place so that we can continue to be a safe place to be for those that are comfortable, and to make up for any lost foot traffic. That's part of what I think they've all done such a wonderful job is they've ramped up their online presence, and they're connecting with their customers and clients through all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. They're even having virtual shopping appointments, which I think is very cool. And I think it's a sign of the times. And I think they'll do okay. It's going to be tough, and I would encourage people to find ways to continue to shop local and to support us. We want to see everyone that's ready to come back, but I think we'll find a way through.
What's the virtual shopping experience like?
Each store is doing it a little bit different. Some of them you can set up an appointment, and say Julie from Guys and Gals, for one, I know she's doing that, and she has her customers FaceTime with her, and she's literally outfitting them from top to bottom. And some of our wardrobe has changed because we're not going out as much, and so I think she's even carrying more sweats and comfortable clothes, and some of us just dress from the top up these days to be on Zoom. And they're adapting to that. And Julie will walk her customers through anything they want to see and package it up and send it right to them.
I like that service. I might have to check that out. Yeah. Kelly Woodley with us. She's the property manager at Orchard Mall here in West Bloomfield. We've talked about this with so many other businesses. Have there been some positives for some of the businesses in Orchard Mall that they had to adapt to and may carry forward once we're out of the pandemic?
I think so. I think, obviously everything online has been coming for years. And some of us may not have been ready or may have been too busy or didn't have time to implement a website or an online presence. And unfortunately and fortunately, the pandemic really forced us all to do that, and to do that quickly, and it was almost, rip off the Band-Aid and make it happen. And I think as much anxiety that comes with that, it's really benefited all of our retailers that have done that. And, Premier Pet Supply, I know, put in delivery services during the pandemic, and those guys are busy. And I don't know if they would have been ready to do that if it weren't for the pandemic. And I think it's helped them. So sure, I think there are some positives that have come out of this, definitely.
That's our favorite pet store as well. They are great over there. So when you're going forward, what do you think is going to be the outcome for some of these businesses? Because prior to COVID, like you said, people are doing so much shopping online. Brick and mortar stores were already struggling a little bit. Are you seeing some of them closing for good, or is there a bigger concern that that's going to happen? Maybe they've made it this far, but if things don't pick up, they may not make it the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think that's always a concern, and I think I would be lying if I said we haven't been worried about retail for many years. But I think what you'll find at Orchard Mall is we have these long-standing business owners that are passionate, and they love their businesses, and they're tenacious, and they're not going anywhere. And I think, it's their grit and it's their drive to do well, and their bond with their customers that keeps them going. And so, yes, we're all concerned in the retail real estate industry, but we have a really great group at Orchard Mall, and they're strong, and they'll be there. I'm confident.
I'm curious to know how things are going at the fitness centers and the smaller gyms over there now that they're able to be back indoors. Did they see a return of customers, or are people still kind of afraid to go to a class or to a gym that's inside?
I think you have people at all areas of the spectrum, and I think that actually helps to create some balance. If everyone rushed back, I don't know that that would be a good thing. And if no one came back, that would be a terrible thing. So those that are, not concerned about coming back or willing to put on a mask and come in, they're there. And it's good. I think we have a good balance right now. And I think that's sort of a smart step. And we'll just see how it gradually picks up over time. But it's been a good start so far.
So there's been so much discussion and controversy surrounding the mask mandate. Any issues with anyone over there or any of your tenants at Orchard Mall that they've been having with the public, or have people been pretty respectful and following the rules?
We've been pretty lucky so far. I mean, there are people that you have to remind to please put it on, and then there are those that you have to tell them how to wear it the appropriate way. But for the most part, I think people have been conscientious and courteous. The mask isn't just for you, it's for everyone else. And that's what I try to keep in mind and remind my friends is you may feel healthy, but there's someone else that isn't. And so we like to try to push the respect for others, and it's been okay.
So I know so many of the stores, especially the smaller stores that maybe their owners weren't so socially media savvy, have had to really learn and adapt. How is that going? Is that been a good way for them to connect? Because sometimes if you don't know how to use social media, it can do harm to your business as well.
Sure. I'm happy to see them taking that leap and bringing that to their business. I think it's necessary in this day and age. There are certainly errors that can be made. We have someone that runs our social media for Orchard Mall. It's Doug Cohen at Frameable Faces, and he has his own social media business. And so we lean on him quite a bit. We encourage our retailers to reach out to him. We have a PR specialist that we work with too. So we try to give as much guidance as we can, and I think it's there for them, and we encourage that. And it's been beneficial so far. It's been going really well.
Kelly, I think you guys should do a series of TikTok videos.
Oh, gosh. I did a ton of those with my kids. I have twin 14-year-olds at home, and when we were first spending a lot of time in the house, that was our activity. And it's fun, but I don't know that we need to see that at Orchard Mall.
Yeah, like maybe for the upcoming Halloween season, you can get the dogs involved, the different businesses.
That would be fun. That would be fun. We are going to partner with the West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce on a virtual event that they're putting on. So maybe we'll throw a couple of TikTok videos into that series. I'll have to talk to Dave Scott and see if that's allowed.
Yeah, Ronnie will join as in her turkey costume. So.
Her turkey costume, right?
Tyler was making fun of me because I was upset the turkey trot has been virtual this year, but I do it every year in my turkey costume. So.
I know, I heard that.
So
I think you should wear it.
Maybe we'll go over to the mall and, we'll get a costume for the dog. Go over to the pet supply place and do a...
Hey, you and your dog can be turkeys together.
We'll do some TikToks. But really, it's hard because social media is so different. There are so many platforms. I have a hard time keeping up on some of the new ones, and with the young kids too. So trying to educate some of the owners that had no social media experience to understand that Facebook is different than Instagram. Instagram is different than Twitter, and Twitter is different than TikTok. And which one do you want to use? Because you really need to look at the group that you're trying to target. So has that been a part of this conversation to get them educated and up to speed to be able to utilize it to its fullest potential?
Oh, sure. That's something that we've been encouraging for years. We've been encouraging them to get that started and consult with professionals, and we're lucky to have one in-house. So we try to get them to lean on him as much as possible.
Kelly Woodley with us. She is the property manager over at the Orchard Mall, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. Kelly, you mentioned a little bit earlier about an event that you're participating in with the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, their upcoming Vibe event. Are there other events and activities that may be coming up also at the Orchard Mall in the near future?
So that's a tricky subject for us this year. We typically put on tons of events in the fourth quarter of the year. We have usually we would have a big Halloween event, and we would have breakfast with Santa and a Hanukkah event. And we're not doing those this year. We really want to be a leader in promoting the social distancing, and health and safety just have to come first this year. So we are participating in a number of virtual events or sponsorships that don't require face-to-face contact in such large groups. So we're also partnering with West Bloomfield Parks and West Bloomfield Township for the Veterans event this year, which will be another virtual event, really great event. And, you know, Parks and Rec does a really great job, and they've done a great job throughout the pandemic of doing drive-up events where, you know, people would typically come to an event, but here they come and they pick up the supplies, and then maybe it's a do-it-from-home type thing. And so this year for the Veterans Day breakfast, they'll drive up and they'll pick up their breakfast and pick up a little gift bag that's being put together, and we're working with Civic Center TV to broadcast the event this year. So it'll be different than our traditional event calendar, but we're still finding ways to connect with our community too, because the community is something that's very, very important to us.
Everyone is having to change how they normally would do something. And I wonder, when it comes to the virtual events, are they successful? Are they worth the time that's put in to figuring out how to even put it out there and how to operate it? Are enough people tuning in to make it successful?
I think so. I think so many people are spending so much time at home that they're looking for those things. And I think you're right. It can be a lot of work to put some of those things together, but I think there is an audience and people are looking for things to do. And I'm glad that we can help provide that.
Kelly Woodley with us from the Orchard Mall, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. The Orchard Mall, also one of our Facebook partner today, joining us on the broadcast. So we thank you for tuning in on the Orchard Mall's Facebook page, and encourage you, if you are just going there for the first time, give them a like as well. Kelly, just a few more minutes with you before we have to let you go. Anything else that you'd like to discuss today with us, or any other information or news we should know about the Orchard Mall?
Some exciting news that Tappers Diamonds and Fine Jewelry, they finished a brand new renovated showroom at the mall. That was a long time coming, and I think doing construction during a pandemic could be a little scary. So I'd love to welcome everyone to come over and take a look at their beautiful showroom. It turned out really, really nice. And then I also just would like to thank everyone that has shopped at the mall or ordered carry out, and your support for these small business owners it's very important, and that's what keeps them going. So I have to encourage you to please continue to shop local and to think of them. They're certainly thinking of you, and there's plenty of ways to connect. So you can find most of our business owners on Facebook, Instagram. They have websites, and you know, it's now fall and the holidays are coming. The holidays will be different this year, but Orchard Mall is here for you. So I just want to welcome everyone back and let you know we're keeping everything safe and healthy, and we're happy to be able to see everyone.
Kelly, speaking of keeping people safe, I'm noticing in your background the Clorox wipes. I'm like, you must have a hookup or a connection, or you get up like super early in the morning, because I have not seen Clorox wipes in a store in months. So how much are you selling that for?
We can talk later. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But we always appreciate having you on the show. It's great to talk to you and all of the owners and shop owners over there at Orchard Mall. Small shops like this are so important to our communities. So we're really hoping that a lot of them are able to survive and keep their doors open. It looks like we're going to be in this for another few months at least, up to 6 months. And then even after a vaccine, COVID's still going to be around. So let's just hope that everyone pays support to our local stores. And thank you for all that you're doing over there to get the word out about the stores and what's happening. It's great. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me back.
Happy weekend. It's going to be one of the last warm weekends, it looks like. So happy fall to you.
Thanks. You too. Enjoy it.
Tyler and I are going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to a chiropractor. Tyler, after we had the last one on, I noticed that I'm always not sitting straight. You know, he said, oh, put your shoulders back. So we'll dive into that and so much more on the Oakland County Megacast.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green
or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask.
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 The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl alongside Tyler Keefe. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, we are in the studios here at Civic Center TV and Lakes FM, working to bring you interviews of newsmakers, decision makers, and interesting people throughout Oakland County and beyond as we all continue to try to get through life and COVID-19 in this pandemic. Tyler, we're hearing about a vaccine, but even if we do get a vaccine, COVID is still going to be around.
Yeah, it's going to take time to get that vaccine distributed. It's going to go to people that are in the highest risk groups first, and then go to general distribution. And that's also going to take time. It's not going to magically happen where we have a vaccine that's ready to go, ready to start being distributed, and all of a sudden it's going to be mass distribution, and we're all going to have access and be able to get that shot. It's going to take a while, even after the vaccine is completed and ready and tested and declared safe for distribution.
So while they work on that, the good thing coming out of this, the medical community, they're all working together. So hopefully that collaboration is going to bring this to a resolution sooner than what we would have seen before. But in the meantime, we are continue to have to live and shift. Halloween is a big Halloween coming up. The state of Michigan to put its guidelines out yesterday for parents on how to get through trick-or-treating. And everyone wants to trick-or-treat. And one thing good about trick-or-treating, typically you are already in a mask. But you got to make sure it's the right mask. Your Halloween costume mask is not going to be good enough. But the last few years, Halloween's been cold, so kids are typically already wearing gloves as well. And Halloween is a huge ordeal. Not ordeal, a huge deal. It is an ordeal.
It could be a huge ordeal if people aren't safe here.
Right? And trying to come up with a new theme every year, because typically that's what we do at our house. We put on a big show and it's a new theme each and every day.
That's a perfect theme for you. It's a Thanksgiving theme this year for you. There you go.
We're bringing it a little bit earlier. People are getting creative though. They're trying to come up with like different candy shoots so that you could just maybe, the kid could come up, put their basket, and you put a candy through the chute and it goes out, or maybe slingshot.
I say that everyone should just be, playing paintball in their front yards with candy and just, knocking each other out.
I was surprised to see the study that came out that said candy corn is the top of the list for people in Michigan as their favorite Halloween candy. That is fake news, Tyler.
Candy corn?
Candy
no, those
corn.
people are liars. So the 100% of people who took that survey are liars. That's 100% just lies. Look, I'm a very, very slight candy corn apologist. I don't think it is as much of a villain as people make it out to be. However, enjoyable, it's a last resort.
And definitely not the most popular candy.
No, come on. It's the most popular, least favorite, if anything.
Yes.
Yeah, you worded that completely. That's been worded completely wrong.
They tried to fancy it up over the years.
They do. They
too.
always try to fancy it up, too. They try to make it new colors, like the new colors is going to make it less disgusting. Come on.
So this is, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is the Oakland County Megacast on 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I would imagine the one thing, though, you're not going to see candy corn sitting out on everyone's desk because you're not going to share candy corn. You're not going to share candy really anymore,
A better
right?
place for it is in the trash.
Has that gone away? Like sharing food in the office setting? I used to always have candy on my desk. One time I set up a trail camera to see who was coming in and eating all the candy from my desk.
That's a bit much. Nice.
We made a fun video out of it. So is our next guest ready here?
He is. He's good to go.
Tyler thinks something's
No time
wrong with
sooner,
me.
too.
It was really interesting, though, to see all the people coming in. Like people from different parts of the building, you didn't even know them, and somehow or another they discovered I had the best candy in the office.
Yeah. That's what happens.
That's how I get people to visit me.
Exactly.
Hey, okay, so enough about the candy. I am going to bring you some candy corn, though. Let's go ahead and bring in Keith Brennan. He's a chiropractor at Back to Health Wellness Center. Hey, Keith, what candy do you like at Halloween? Are you a candy corn person?
That's a great question. I was a candy corn person back in the day. Now that I eat a little bit different lifestyle, I'm more of a caramel apple splurge guy.
Really? I thought you were going to tell us that you didn't like sugar.
Oh, I love sugar. I have mostly given up sugar except for occasional splurges, but I think anyone who says they don't like sugar is not to be trusted.
That's a good way to do it. Keith, go ahead and properly introduce yourself on the show here on the Oakland County Megacast. What do you do, and how can people find out about your services?
Yeah, well, thanks, first of all, for having me on. And my name is Dr. Keith. I am a chiropractor. I practice in Utica, Michigan, and it's called Back to Health Wellness Center. And today I was so kind of you guys to have me on for a new venture that me and Chad Ever of Ever Studios are starting called Health Connect Pro. And Health Connect Pro is a way to reach the public in a virtual platform. And what better way than 2020 to bring that to the awareness that we really need some better outlets to help people with health information.
So how is this going to be laid out, and what's it going to look like?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So it's going to be unlike anything that you've ever really seen before. So the way it's going to look to the public is you're going to get exposed to some of our pros. And the way that you're going to get exposed to our pro is by maybe you know them, maybe you're on their social media, maybe it's on their email list. And let's say they're an expert at essential oils, for instance. As chiropractors and other healthcare providers, we get questions about essential oils, supplements, who should I go see for counseling, what type of workout should I do, how should I eat? We get questions left and right. So my idea for this format is to bring those answers to the public in a preliminary setting where they can be taught actually by these pros that know a lot more about this information than any of us primary care physicians do.
This is really smart and a good idea to come up with. How will people be able to access it? Is it going to be by subscription or just throwing it up on YouTube?
Great question. So there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that's kind of all over the place. So the idea of this is to connect a bunch of different parts of health. And when I say health, I kind of mentioned just the typical healthy things, but there's going to be other healthy things on there. And when I say healthy, I mean life, right? Like if we're eating healthy and exercising, but our work is really stressful, or, you know, we're down because of our sports team lost, that still contributes to our health. So it will be a membership site for the public, but there's going to be a lot of free information on it. So to get to know the pros, quicker, shorter videos will be free. And we're going to have Tips Tuesdays, and we'll each that you would pay like a paid membership to see the video footage. And it's just in a laid back, you don't have to have huge amounts of any knowledge about health. And that's the idea. So it can touch the everyday person who doesn't have access to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get access to these pros. It's to touch those people.
What I like about this, it's all in one place and you can trust the information, because when you do go to the internet, you go to YouTube, you really don't know the person or, their certification on the information that they're giving out. So this is kind of gives people that knowledge, but it's trustworthy as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I do think it's kind of funny that because of certain credentials, like because I'm a chiropractor, people will take what I say about essential oils sometimes in more esteem than someone who, that's what they do. They study the essential oil, they learn about the essential oils, they know all these different things about essential oil. So my goal in this is to not only empower the public, but it's also to get the message and all this education that these people learn about and engross themselves in, put them in a place where they can impact and help more people, especially parents out there. I know I have kids myself. I don't know if either of you have kids, but there's so much information. But when you can go to trusted sources for that information and help things out, like stress, anxiety, panic attacks, kids and adults alike don't really love going, okay, now I'm going to go march to a counselor's office or go have to do something. This would be the first step of actually no one needs to know about it. You can just watch and listen to these videos. And then if you go, okay, now.
Keith, we're getting a little bit of a lag there in your video. So let me check back in and see if you're back. Keith? Dr. Keith, it seems like we maybe lost him for just a second. We're going to try to get him back because he's a fascinating interview and they have a good thing coming up. So we're wanting to try to get you some more of that information. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, see if we can't connect with him again.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards. Back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus. Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19. To make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonay Caldoun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. So fun times, just like everyone else. We live and die by technology here at the Oakland County Megacast, and our internet went out, and so we lost Dr. Keith. But we got him on the phone, so we're going to bring him back in so that he can continue on. Dr. Keith, are you there with us?
I am here, yeah. This is life, right? Stuff happens that we're not expecting to have happen.
We have all learned to go with the flow during this time, haven't we?
Well, either that or we're going bonkers right now if you're not adapting to going with the flow. I like to add humor into situations. So, yeah, it would never a surprise to me when technology fails. I've had to learn a lot more about technology in the last 6 or 8 months. Even for this interview, Chad, my business associate there, had a background created with Health Connect Pro, and instead we got my beautiful children in the background because I couldn't figure out how to actually get it onto the Zoom there. So
I haven't figured that out either. So you're not alone, but your kids are beautiful. So, but we were talking about your Health Connect Pro, and I think we lost you kind of in the middle. I know you said it is going to be a membership-based program, and walk us through it from that point. So people would be able to go on. And, you know, is it weekly, monthly, and would there be a contract involved in that?
Yeah, great question. So the idea is that you can get access to this information at any day, time, second, and you can watch it and listen to it at your convenience. So there will be free parts of it. Some of the free parts is there'll be a few videos shot by each pro. That's free. You can just go there. It's free to all the public. But then there is a membership side of it, too, if you want to dive into the teaching of the pros. And we are starting off, there'll be, I believe, 11 that have all their videos ready for us, but there's over 20 pros that are already pouring in their videos. So there'll be a couple new pros each week after we launch next week, September 30th. And the idea is that you can watch them at your own convenience, and it's just a small monthly fee to be on the membership side of things. But there's also more free stuff. So on Tuesdays, there's Tips Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays, there's Wellness Wednesdays with these pros. So my idea is to bring awareness, and that is the biggest thing. Yesterday, I actually just became enlightened on a new dental thing. There's actually sleep apnea issues in children, and different things in modern dentistry can help with that. So I don't know if you were aware of that, but I'm in the healthcare industry.
First time hearing about it. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So that was me yesterday. So my idea is to bring a lot of new knowledge that's cutting edge, because we didn't even know of this as of years ago, because I was asking the hygienists and dentists that were telling me about this. So to have that knowledge, the cutting edge knowledge on how to help different people's health problems, right on this platform, so people can learn, and then if they choose to, they can take action, but there'll be no pressure. So we have a comedian that's going to be on the platform because, again, that's health, right? We need a laugh. We need to enjoy life. So it's not just going to be just the boring medical side of things. This is actually more of a resource for physicians, primary care physicians specifically, on things that they don't have enough time and energy to pour back into our patients that we want to. It's, hey, go check this out at Health Connect Pro. If you think you can get some value out of it, you can use it for you and your family members and your kids to really improve your health in a whole variety of categories.
Dr. Keith with us on the Oakland County Megacast. So, Dr. Keith, if someone signs up for the monthly membership, does that give them unlimited access?
It does, yep. It gives them unlimited access to everyone on there. And the idea here, too, is these pros that are on there really are people that want to give back to the community and help people out. So there'll be contact information for them on all of the videos, that if you're someone who says, oh my gosh, I want to learn more about this, well, you can click right on their links and you can get connected right with them directly. So it's not only just to, get their information that they're giving you, but if you want to have more information from them, like I know sometimes you watch a video and you're like, man, I'm never going to be able to talk to this person or connect with this person. They have 300,000 followers, where these are people that are wanting to talk to you. If you want to reach out and connect with them, they're there to lend that support and help improve in whatever way that you're wanting to improve.
There's so many different areas and so many great people with knowledge out there prior to this whole new virtual world that we are now all becoming accustomed to living within. It seemed like so many of those people were not accessible to just the regular person. So it's great to be able to see. This is, I think, the good thing coming out of COVID-19. How often do you think you're going to update the information and those interviews?
Yeah, great question. So it's actually a teaching series, not really an interview format. So it's more, there'll be a specific topic. And so if you're interested, you'll listen to that. And if you're not interested, you'll listen to the other pros that you're interested in. And once a month, they'll be updating content themselves. Plus, this is going to be a process. I don't know if I cut off, but we're starting with a certain amount of pros, and then we're going to add a couple of new pros in different fields, like that dentist situation that I was talking about. We'll be added people in like them. So there are constantly going to be more pros and more information on the platform. But at the same time, if you're someone who doesn't have kids, well, there's stuff on there that's not about kids. Or if you're someone who you're not a fitness person, so you're not going to watch the fitness pros, but you're going to watch more of the comedy or more of the pros about how to increase your mental capabilities or change your mindset. Because, man, if any of us have needed to do one thing, it's kind of adapt to what's happening in 2020 to best fit whatever our needs are.
And those needs change every single day, every single hour. You're up one day, you're down the next day. So this would be a good way to be able to maybe tune back in and reset your mindset. How are you finding the people that you're going to highlight on the platform?
Great question. So I started off, a lot of them are out of contacts that I already had in Southeast Michigan, but there's actually going to be people on the platform from New York. There's someone from Maine. There's someone from out west, and even someone from Canada. So really, as long as I have a contact with them and I think that they could provide value to the public in some type of health category, I want them on there so people can have the ability to get that information. Because awareness and information is the first step to making change, and most people are very resistant to change, which is why 2020 is so hard. But I find if they have the awareness of why they would make the change, now there's a much greater not only ability, but desire to make some of those changes, and it's got to be about them. So all the pros have to be people that are compassionate to help people, meet them wherever they're at, and grow to a place where they want to become, not where us as the pros want them to go. And I find that way too often. We're telling people, well, you need to be eating this way, or you need to be exercising, or you need to go see this. This is an area for them to get what they want to out of our pros.
Dr. Keith Brennan with us on the Oakland County Megacast. He is with Back to Health Wellness Center. They are going to be launching the Health Connect Pro on September 30th. Dr. Keith, before we let you go, I was reading your bio. You wanted to be a surgeon, and then you made this pivot? Wow.
Yeah. So the reason why I made the pivot is actually to free up more time for family. And as much as I love being a surgeon, unfortunately, I had some family members, and there's not a lot of time to spend with family when you're in the surgical tech unit. You can ask any of the people right now, especially in 2020, that are on COVID floors, man. I thank them so much, but the amount of hours they got to spend directly in the hospitals is just, it's crazy. We need to help them out as much as we can.
We do. Well, you have a fascinating story. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us. We wish you the best of luck. It really is such a needed service. So thank you for taking time and sharing the information with us on the Oakland County Megacast. When it gets up and running, please come back. We'd love to have you to see how things are going.
Awesome. I so appreciate you having me on. You guys have an awesome day.
You too. Go enjoy this beautiful weather. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to a couple of med students who are really doing great things. They're not out of med school yet, but that's not stopping them from helping people. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Parks COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green
or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask.
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 The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Thank you for taking time out of your Friday to join us on the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl alongside Tyler Keefe. You can catch us right here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. CivicCenterTV.com, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. For those of you that do still have cable, we say thank you. And of course, you can catch us on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff, and our Facebook partner of the day, Orchard Mall. They are streaming this Friday edition to their Facebook friends, and we want to say thank you to them. Our two next guests, I love your story. I love what you are doing. I've done volunteer work with the homeless. We're going to bring in Lexi Ransky and Victoria Drizgu. They're students at Oakland University's School of Medicine. They're fourth-year medical students, creators of Street Medicine Team. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
Okay, which one is Lexi? Which one's Victoria?
I'm Lexi. And I'm Victoria, or Tori.
Okay, thank you. I love what you guys are doing. How did you come up with this?
Well, so we're not the first ones to actually come up with the idea. It's actually a pretty old idea. It was originally started by a doctor in Pittsburgh. His name was Dr. Jim Withers, and he's still practicing street medicine. He developed street medicine, I think it was in 1996, actually. And then it kind of started as a movement from there. So we were initially introduced to it when we were in undergrad at Wayne State University, because they have a program. Their program's a bit older than ours. I think it's about 9 years old now. And when we were down at Wayne State in Detroit, we became very passionate about working with the homeless and the underserved. And we knew when we went to medical school, we wanted to start a program of our own. And being at Oakland University, you're so close to Pontiac, which really doesn't have anything like this, a street medicine program. It's the first of its kind in Oakland County. So that's when we wanted to start this program.
So the two of you knew each other at Wayne State?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we were friends and not really close friends actually for a while. And then our last year we became pretty close friends. And when we both found out that we were attending OU, we were like, oh, we could do something pretty cool when we got there. So it was kind of fates that lined up a little bit.
Yeah, it worked out.
Lexi Ransky and Tori Driscoll with us on the Oakland County Megacast. They are from the street medicine team and are students at the Oakland University William Beaumont School of Medicine. So when you are going out and you are treating people, you are helping people, how do you find these people that you are helping? Are they calling? Are you getting referrals to the street team? Are they coming to you? How's that working?
So we're not getting referrals yet. That's a future goal of ours. But right now, we're actually seeing patients in two different ways. So one way is on Friday nights, every other Friday, we're at Hope Adult Shelter, which is on Baldwin Avenue in Pontiac, seeing patients there. And they'll actually sign up to see us when we're at the shelter, just as you would in any other doctor's office. But on every other Saturday, we're actually going out on the street and directly caring for people who may not make it to the clinic or don't have a physician they see regularly. So we're finding people that way really by just walking around and just kind of seeing who we can find. We've been doing the actual street outreach since March. So we've kind of found where some people are living. We've gotten to know a lot of people. So we know where to find them now, and we're meeting new people every time we go out. So it's always an adventure. You never know what's going to happen.
And we meet the same people every week. So if we know if someone's staying somewhere specifically, we'll make sure to go visit them every single time we go out and build some continuity with them. Even if they don't have any medical issues, one time when we go out, maybe the next time they will, and they'll feel comfortable talking to us about them. So that's kind of the whole point. We visit the same people if we know where they're at and kind of build that relationship.
Mm-hmm. What's this been like to try to do this during a pandemic?
It's always a question we get. So honestly, COVID didn't change a ton for us in regards to what we're doing every week. I know a lot of the street medicine programs that are student-led, like we are, around the country did have to stop what they were doing. But Oakland University actually encouraged its students to continue serving the community as long as it was in a safe way. Mm-hmm. So we were fortunate enough to continue our efforts. And really the only thing that changed for us is we cut down on the volunteers that were coming out every week. Typically, we'll have about 4 to 6 volunteers that are medical students come out every week so people can experience what street medicine is like and kind of get to know the community better. But for the past 4 months or so.
Since April.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Since April, we've had to cut it down. So it's just been our primary provider, which is one of our physicians from Beaumont, and then 1 or 2 of us from the leadership team. So mm-hmm. That's a way that we've been kind of keeping it safe for ourselves and the people that we see. And it definitely became about a lot of counseling as well. Because when you allow people we met out on the street or even at the shelter, they were happy to see a physician, someone who's in the thick of it, who really knows what's going on, and kind of talk to them about what COVID really is and how is it really spread and how can we protect ourselves. So it became about a lot of education during that time as well.
Yeah, and we felt it was important to continue going out during the pandemic, because just because there's a pandemic going on doesn't mean that people's health conditions disappear. they still have their diabetes that needs to be managed. They still have their high blood pressure that needs some medication or a check every now and then. So we thought it was really important to continue our work, and we think our patients really appreciated that as well. And now we're actually starting to integrate students back into our outreach events. We actually have one tonight at Hope Shelter. So we have about 6 students going and a couple of us from our leadership team. So slowly but surely integrating students back with, of course, PPE, masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, goggles if people feel the need, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Lexi Rinsky and Victoria Driscoll with us on the Oakland County Megacast. They are both students at the Oakland University William Beaumont School of Medicine and are the leaders of the street medicine team as well, a team that has it's bringing over 55 Oakland University William Beaumont School of Medicine students to shelters and social service centers to treat acute medical problems wherever those patients may be. And recently the team received a significant amount of grant money from a local foundation. Could you tell us about that process, who you got the funds from, and where those funds will be put to use?
Yeah, so absolutely. In addition to, I'll touch on that in a second, but our initial funding came from Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's how we actually got the program started about a year ago now. So we're really thankful for that initial funding that got us going. And now, a year into our program, we were fortunate enough to get this most recent grant from the DMC Foundation. And the way we got that, we're very fortunate because at our school, we have a professor who's really been helping us out on the administrative side, who actually does a lot of work, or has done a lot of work in the past with the homeless. He's written books about it, documentaries. Really, all of his work kind of revolves around that. So he's been really passionate about this work as well. So he's the one that actually reached out and was able to get this grant for us. So we're very thankful to him, Dr. Jason Wasserman. And kind of moving forward with this grant, of course, some of it is going to go towards our, our usual things that we need to have funds for, medications, different medical supplies. Other things that we hope to do is kind of improve like the preventative care that we're doing. So try to get some lab testing involved so we can be checking people's like HbA1cs for their diabetes, for their cholesterol, or other things like that. That's something that we would like to start integrating. We'd also like to try to do some more like advertising in the community. So hopefully when COVID kind of slows down a bit, we want to have like a sort of like a health fair where we can introduce ourselves again to the community. We can introduce our partners like Gary Bernstein Community Health Clinic, who we work very closely with, the Oakland County Health Division. We have a lot of people that we kind of want to get out there in the community and introduce themselves again, and kind of show that we're working together. So that's something we want to use the money for as well.
We're also looking into getting telehealth backpacks.
Yes.
So that's a really cool thing that's some of this grant money is going towards. We hope to use it a lot for mental health services. A lot of our patients that we see have mental health histories and they have trouble getting in to see psychiatrists or mental health professionals. So we're hoping that the telehealth backpacks will help us communicate with mental health providers while we're at the shelter or while we're on the street, and they don't have to be there physically. So in this time of that telehealth is kind of like skyrocketed, we're hoping to kind of get into that avenue of medicine and see if it can help our patients. And when we're not using it as a street medicine program, Gary Bernstein Community Health Clinic will be able to utilize that as well to kind of do telehealth visits with specialists if their patients need a specialist. So that's something really exciting that this grant is going towards too. Yes. So yeah, we're really thankful that we were able to secure this grant money and continue improving our program.
It is a great program and a much needed program. The both of you are fourth year students. What do you think this experience is going to, or how do you think this experience is going to help you as you move into your residency?
Well, so I would say, I mean, definitely over the past 4 years, working to build this program and working within it has really grown my passion, at least for working with the homeless population and street medicine itself. So I definitely want to incorporate it into my career down the line. We're both going into family medicine. So my goal is to have a clinic, patient clinic, and then be on the street at least one day a week, because I think this work's really important.
Yeah, and I just think that it helped us a lot with like organizational skills, just like kind of basic things that you really need as a physician. We were able to kind of get out into the community, find community partners. And I think that's super important as a family medicine physician as well. You need to know what resources are already available to your patients where you're at and not reinvent the wheel on some things that are already present. So that was kind of a good thing for me to learn. I think for us to learn as well. And like Lexi, I think that my passion for working with underserved has just gotten bigger, and we hope to go to residency programs that kind of support this work and allow us to do this work while we're in residency. And I think it was really important for us to know how to work with this particular population that often lacks a lot of trust in healthcare systems. So hopefully we can kind of break down some barriers that they face by going to them where they're at.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned earlier, I actually did a homeless retreat on the streets of Detroit I think we were out there for 4 or 5 days, and it's such a wide opening experience, but it was also emotionally draining. Have there been days for the both of you that you were out there on the streets trying to treat people that emotionally you were just like, I can't do this any longer?
I think that it does become, it can become frustrating. And I think it's more because of our healthcare system than anything. Because one thing that we've really learned a lot about doing this work is just the crazy amount of barriers that these people face to getting quality healthcare. And I think that's what becomes so frustrating, because even if you meet patients who, want to be following up with a physician regularly, or want to be taking their medications correctly, or want to be in physical therapy, or, they could want to do all these things, but if you lack the insurance or you lack the transportation or any of these number of barriers these people face, it's just not possible for them. And so that, I would say, is the most frustrating thing, I think, for us, because you could be there doing the work, your patient could want to be putting the work in, but if they don't have the means to get there, that's very challenging.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think I've had that, emotional thing where I'm like, I can't do this anymore, but definitely felt frustrations in those regards. And I think the frustrations kind of fuel us a little bit, actually. So even if we feel these frustrations, it's kind of like we try to make them to fuel us a little bit. We try to do whatever we can to get our patients where they want to be, and make their healthcare goals attainable. So even if it's a little bit frustrating, even if it's a little bit emotionally draining, we still think it's really important work. And I think it kind of helps us and lights a fire under us to get some things done.
So for those that are hearing your story and the work that you're doing for the first time, where can they find out more information, or even if they want to donate?
Well, we don't have an avenue to be accepting donations right now. And really, I think just recently we've been getting the word out about our program. We've been really fortunate to have people like you pick up our story and, have interest in what we're doing. We do have, we have a Facebook page that people could follow along with. That's where we post our updates and articles and kind of share what we're doing on a week-to-week basis. So that Facebook page is Street Medicine Pontiac at OUWB. So if people want to follow that, that would be amazing. We love to have more support.
Thank you guys so much for being on the show. It gives us so much hope for our future. We're all a little stressed out, and I will say I'm a little bit older, and sometimes we're like, you millennials, but meeting the two of you, it really is inspiring, and you are making a big difference. So thank you for what you're doing. I know it's not easy, and good luck to the both of you. And we'll definitely try to post your Facebook page and share it a few times and get you some followers. And good luck with the rest of your college career, and then it's on to residency, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sleep now.
Everyone.
Well, thank you both. We definitely appreciate having you on the Oakland County Megacast.
Thank you.
Tyler and I are going to take a quick break here on the Megacast, and when we come back, we'll round out the show and close out the week talking zombies with the children's author. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
I'm excited for this next interview, Tyler. It's good for us to kind of end the show on a fun note. And with that, we're going to bring in Lisa Rose. She is a children's author and has a new book out right now, A Zombie Vacation. How did you come up with this? How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I came up with the idea. I was really researching the Dead Sea, and I discovered that the Dead Sea loses 1 meter per year, which in English terms is 3 feet.
Wow.
And I thought that is a lot. So places that I went to at the Dead Sea like 20 years ago that were right on the beach where like you have to get into like the golf cart and like go down and schlep to the beach. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And the story actually started out as kind of a travel guide to say, here, hurry up and visit the Dead Sea before it disappears. And it was very playful, and the editor said that we needed to have more of a story arc, and I thought, well, who would want to visit the Dead Sea? And obviously a zombie.
Well, you're definitely in character today. So the book, how do people find the book? And I will say, let's just back up here for a second, because I went on your website and I watched your videos. You are so fun. Do you scare the kids or attract the kids, though?
Well, you know what? It's very strange now because I have to do everything, obviously, over Zoom and in a virtual setting. So it is kind of strange to do it that way for me. I'm a recovering first grade teacher, so I like to really be present with the kids. And I always look forward to the questions like, what is your second favorite reptile? And do you like ketchup? And all sorts of questions that they don't feel as comfortable asking over Zoom. But they, so I have to do the virtual meetings. But back before, when we had all the in person, it was much easier to get them excited about being dressed up. However, what I do ask is my kids dress up. So we're all getting kind of like Zoom fatigued, and so are the kids, but they love seeing everybody in costume. So we kind of make it a big party that everybody dresses up. Halloween is coming up. So it's much more fun to be at a meeting in costume than it is just to be at a meeting. So
Lisa Rose with us. She is a children's author joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. So you talk about being a recovering first grade teacher, interacting with children very often throughout your career, and that, of course, inspiring your writings as well. How has the pandemic and the perspective of children going through this pandemic impacted your creative process, if at all?
Well, really, when everybody was watching Tiger King and taking advantage of Netflix, I actually really relished the time to write. I also have a daughter who is having, virtual school as well. So I kind of took that time to, I think, feel like rather than feeling really confined, to have the creativity, that outlet to say that this is a special time where I can be in a hole and I can create. So that I think was very beneficial for me. As far as the pandemic, kids adapt. I mean, they're very adaptable. And yes, it's hard, and I'm like most parents and going, when are we going back to school? I am also currently a reading specialist as well, and it is very, very hard to teach online. I would much rather teach in person. So I think that like everyone, we're just kind of taking one day at a time and figuring it out, but also savoring the fact that I can reach people over Zoom that I wouldn't be able to reach if I was in my classroom.
And prior to COVID, a lot of us weren't even familiar with the Zoom platform. And so we weren't as comfortable as using it in a big setting as if like we are doing now. Lisa Rose with us on the Oakland County Megacast. How hard is it to write a children's book?
Well, it's not hard to write one. It's hard to write a good one and then to sell it.
And during a pandemic.
This was 2 years before. See,
okay.
People don't understand that writing a children's book is actually a very long process, and with most things it requires a team. So I work on these stories, and I work with a critique group, and then I polish up this story, and I'm traditionally published, so I work with an agent. So I send it to my agent, and then she decides whether she likes it or not to send it off to a publisher. And then the publisher decides whether or not they can publish it. And this process can take anywhere from 6 months to a year to several years until you have a draft that you feel is good enough for a publisher to look at. And then with the case of Zombie Vacation, it actually took 2 rounds before they accepted it. And then when they accept it, it could take 2 more years for it to actually be published. And what they do is the publisher matches you with an illustrator. I know there's a lot of people that think, I'm hand in hand with the illustrator talking about all the drawings, but no, it was her book. She did the drawings. I got to see some of them before they were published, and then the book comes out. So if I sold a book today, so if my agent calls right now and says, Lisa, you sold the book, it probably won't be out until 2 years. So I didn't really when we were going through all of this, I had no idea we were going to be in the middle of a pandemic, but I'm really happy because this one is a really, really fun book. And I think we all kind of look like this after staying at home for so long. And it's just really fun. And the kids are having a lot of fun with it. And I think that's what's really important, is that we have to remember how to laugh and have fun, even though it is a very challenging time.
The illustrations are absolutely fabulous. And like you said, they are fun as well. With so many bookstores closing down, as an author with a book, how do you break in to get your book noticed? So, because at the end of the day, you want to sell it, but the normal platforms aren't there so much anymore. And now that bookstores are reopening, it still seems we don't have as many of them. And there are so many children's books on the shelves. How do you stand out?
Try to do everything you can.
Which is why you're dressed as a zombie right now.
You're right. You try to do everything you can. I am fortunate in the sense that A Zombie Vacation will be part of what is called the PJ Library. So that is, they send out Jewish-themed books to children across the world, really. So about a few months from now, A Zombie Vacation will go to probably over 25,000 homes in North America.
Wow.
So my first picture book, The Shmulik Paints the Town, was a PJ Library selection in 2016 and then again in 2020. So it went out to probably combined over 50,000 homes. That helps with being in the PJ Library too, because there are PJ Library communities in pretty much every city in North America and then across the world. So that it's a very small section, but getting out to the larger community, that's always challenging. And we're all trying to find a way to be heard.
Well, you stand out in a crowd, I will tell you that.
And reinvent yourself on social media and just really having a fun time with it. And I think that if you have a good book and you're excited to share it, and that people are going to find it.
Lisa Rose with us. She's a children's author joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. Lisa, just another few minutes with you today before we'll have to let you go. Anything else you'd like to talk about regarding your book, A Zombie Vacation, or any of your other writings possibly, or what's next in the future?
Actually, April 1st, I have a very serious nonfiction book coming out about the friendship between Marian Anderson and Albert Einstein. Marian Anderson was denied a room after she sung at Princeton, and Albert Einstein overheard this conversation. He attended the concert, and he said, "Here, come home with me." And they became friends up until his death. And it's very, I think it's a very important book right now when we talk about the state of race in our country. So I am happy, though, that I get to do something fun before something very serious. So for right now, I am scheduling virtual author visits, and I can come to classrooms here in Oakland County and really across the country and the world. And I think it's really important that the kids, because authors used to be able to do school visits, and I think it's so important for kids to know that authors are really, they're alive, they're real people, they have laundry, they have cats. And to know that, wow, someone actually that I know wrote this book, and to have that personal connection. So on my website, lisarosewrites.com, you can contact me and I can come to your classroom virtually, and kids can ask questions and I can talk about writing just in the same way that I would be in their school.
You definitely have a very interesting backdrop behind you. So I give you like the gold star for that. Definitely out of the last few months, yours is very cute. Very, very cute. Real quickly before we let you go, you are so talented, and to be able to cross genres the way you do, what advice do you give to other inspiring writers and authors right now?
You have to write what touches you. Jane Yolen said it very best. She says, write your heart, but don't break your heart if it doesn't sell. And I think I always kind of root for the underdog, and all of my books, even though there's very diverse, I write funny picture books, I have very serious picture books, I have a chapter book series about a second grade girl who wants to be an astronaut and also uses a wheelchair. But all of them are about just having that unheard be heard, whether that is a zombie. And really the zombie book is essentially about being your amazing self. You know, he didn't feel like himself, and he had to get to where he felt like himself again. And so I think that you have to find that voice inside of you and write that voice for you.
I know you mentioned social media and trying to stand out. Is there a platform for writers or aspiring writers that they could maybe post it and have it critiqued from different individuals?
There's tons of platforms, but really what you would want to do is you would want to join the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, scbwi.org. And that is where you can connect with other authors and illustrators in your community, and you can get supported with your writing. That really helped me. I actually started out as a playwright in college, and then like I told you, I taught first grade, so I just kind of fell into the picture books. But I had a lot of writing background before, but we always need work. I mean, one of the things that I really love showing with my students is I show them the writing process all the way through. So even though my book is accepted and going to be published, they always like to see how my editor marks up my manuscript. And that even though I'm an adult and I'm a published author, that I'm still working on my writing and keep working and working and working. And when I go to schools, I always have my big bucket of rejection letters and I dump them all over the floor. And I say that if I stopped, you know, after someone said no to me, that I wouldn't, that I wouldn't be an author and wouldn't be speaking with them today. And I call it the power of yet, that, you know, you have to say to yourself, I'm not a published author yet, and put it in that framework. And every no, you just say, not yet, not yet, not yet. And you keep going, and that can apply to anything in life. It can apply to, you know, doing math problems, or doing, I'm not good at this yet, or I'm not the basketball star yet, or I'm not a doctor yet. And just keep encouraging kids that you're not going to get it on the first or the second time. And I probably have 50 versions of this book, and it was just not yet, and you just can't give up.
That is such great advice for all of us. It has been such a pleasure having you with us on the Oakland County Megacast. And what a great last interview to close out the week. We say thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope everyone gets a zombie vacation.
It is so cute. It is so cute, Tyler. So Lisa Rose, she's a children's author. Her book, A Zombie Vacation. If you want to find out a little bit more about the book, lisarosewrites.com. She is a ball of energy. And Tyler, I bet the kids just love her.
I'm sure.
So much. So thank you so much, Lisa Rose, for being with us. We're going to wrap it up here on the Oakland County Megacast. But real quickly, Tyler, before we go, tonight's football game, where can they watch it? Where can they listen to it?
Yeah, go to civiccentertv.com. We have a link there on a slider at the top of our page where you can go directly to the link of our video stream of the broadcast. You can also listen to us right here on 89.3 Lakes FM. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock, pregame right around 6:15, 6:30.
Thank you guys so much for doing that. So many parents are going to love it. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Oakland County Megacast. Have a great weekend.